Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. And I want to start by thanking all of our witnesses, particularly those who have had personal experiences of discrimination and violence in their lives and in Uganda, and as they have made their way to a place, I hope, of safety, because it is so difficult to, what you've been through is terrible. And I hope that today has not been, that it's not been too painful for you to bring back those bad memories today. Before I come back to you to ask you some questions, I'd like to actually get an update from Dr. Chikatal on the situation in Uganda right now, because we had this is our second session on this topic here at committee. We had actually put it off deliberately so that we would be having our second session after the election in January. And I'm wondering if you could update us on what happened in those elections, what happened on both to, I think, a number of Ugandan legislators who were behind the AHA were not reelected, but then there's also some advocates who weren't reelected. There is an ongoing appeal to the Supreme Court of Uganda. I'm just wondering if you could provide us with an update to the best of your knowledge on where things are at.
Thank you. Through the chair, let me thank you for that question. I think it is fair to say the situation in Uganda post the elections has increasingly become more difficult for LGBTQI plus people in the country. Indeed, our own analysis shows that the elections has disrupted representation, particularly amongst legislators that were challenging this repressive act. And what we have seen as well is that those in government have become more emboldened. We have seen as recent as the 18th of February 2026, two Ugandan women in their early 20s in Arua being arrested on allegations of kissing in public, which is a very brazen and open attack on the rights of queer people in Uganda. So in terms of what this means for the future, I think without concerted action from partners such as Canada, we see the situation deteriorating for queer people in Uganda. Thank you very much.
And I'm just wondering if any of our witnesses who are from Uganda have heard anything from their comrades on the ground around how things are both on the ground in Uganda, but also I wondered if any of you wanted to elaborate on what the situation is in the refugee camps post-election, and specifically in Kenya and South Sudan around the choke point. It's to whoever has information about that. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'd like to elaborate more. The most recently concluded election was full of human rights violations. Openly, the president of Uganda and his government showed the world that Uganda has no place for human rights because they are full of gross human rights violations. And we saw a change in everything. Today, 90% of the members of parliament in Uganda are from the ruling party, not because they were voted in, but because the president decided they are supposed to come in with hook or crook. These are people that have openly been against equal rights especially for minorities, especially the LGBTQI+. So, of course, this is seen as this is an automatic danger to people that are fighting for survival. And when it comes to refugee camps, it's even worse, because after the election, of course, with everything that is going, my colleague highlighted on the situations of Wendy and her friend who were arrested recently for kissing, allegedly kissing in public and imprisoned. Of course, we know the law. The law has no act in it that says kissing is an act of homosexuality. But because these politicians have power and they want to be heard and seen, they advocated for their rearrest. Even after court giving them bail, they were rearrested and taken back to prison. So, of course, this automatically is a sign that shows that many people are going to flee the country into these refugee camps, of course, which we know they are not safe places for people that are part of the LGBTQ plus community. As I highlighted, they are full of, these people are raped. The police uses it as an excuse to extort money from them to give them protection, and they're not protected. We have people that have been burned to death in these camps. Those that have fled to Sudan have also faced the same.
Just before at the end of, I'm almost at the end of my allotted time, just Mr. Bakke, if you could just round that out as someone who works in Nanaimo to support 2SLGBTQ plus refugees from in general and specifically from Uganda. You've had a bit of a longitudinal view of this before and after the election. How does this feel, and how do the changes feel from your as time goes on? How does it feel to watch and to advocate?
It's disappointing that things have not improved for people in refugee camps, for LGBTQ people in refugee camps. We've witnessed from a distance people being assaulted. We've seen places, people's homes being burnt to the ground. Others, people that we weren't supporting, dying as a result of arson. People being murdered. Have things changed? Actually, it can't get much worse than it has been. So no, it hasn't changed. It's still awful. Since and I think we need to do something to stop the flow, but we also need to realize that of refugees. But we also need to realize that the Kenyan choke point, which has been there for a number of years, like that, it's created a backlog of people who are unable to leave, despite others wanting them to leave. And for organizations like ours, we could have done so much more, helped so many more people through private sponsorship if Kenya was giving exit visas, but they are not for anyone without a passport.